Hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar, A New Digital Workday. My name is Arne Nordborg, and together with our CEO in Cegal, Svein Torgersen, I'm proud to, I'm very happy to announce our second series of webinars. All the webinars will be recorded and available through an email to all of you on our YouTube channel. Today's presentation will focus on a new digital workday. But before that, I would like to say a few words about Cegal and the webinars to come in this series. Cegal is a trusted provider of a hybrid cloud solution spanning all the way from software consultancy within IT, business consulting, geoscience, and data management for the whole energy industry. We have offices around the world in key oil and gas or energy hubs. And we believe this combination of IT and geoscience domain experience is what makes us unique in the industry, having an agnostic approach to software vendors, to IT companies, supporting every company to do as good as possible when it comes to this combination. We have a business model based on a delivery of scalable and recurring as a service solution. And that gives us, in tough times or in good times, the opportunity to scale according to requirements for the different companies. In November last year, we entered into a new acquisition agreement for the Sigala group, which Svein will come back and talk a little bit about later as well. If we then move in and say a few words about the different webinars we have today, I must say that I'm very happy to present this for all of you. In total, including this webinar here, we have a series of 7. These are all focusing now on digitalization and different ways of sharing data as a company across different companies, locations, and from one company to another. We start off, and what we see is very important, and there's a lot of questions around, is this about protection and security. So our QHSE manager, Frank, will start off and look into and discuss how we talk and think about security and how that could be implemented to the companies. Following that, we're happy also to have Klaus Kostro together with myself and Alex talking about GeoRooms by Cegal. We see that there's a lot happening when it comes to M&A in the oil and gas business today. It's happening rapidly. And we have provided a solution where we integrate really everything from finance, facilities, QHSE, down to subsurface into one data room that we will present next week on Thursday. Following that, we also would like to talk about and show a bit around how we handle and work with engineering companies. It's an interesting area for us coming from the E&P world, and we see that with our experience, more and more engineering companies is also supporting the solution we can provide. Having a vendor agnostic hypothetical cloud solution available in the market is something we also see that is very important. And with our GeoCloud solution, Paul Holdenak, who is the partner contact in Cegal, will talk about how GeoCloud hosts more than 300 E&P applications across the different domains. Then we will move into something which is quite exciting these days with high performance clouding on Azure, and how we can run simulations, how we can set up and use massive computing power in order to run our models more rapidly and get information back faster. Before we finally end this webinar series, talking about the digital journey we have or are going through, all of us these days in our business, with a focus on how we support clients and how we have specific methodologies of our own and our own innovation space running these things. That's a quick intro to our webinars. I will now leave the workspace or the digital workspace to Svein and let him talk about how we see as a company how this last few months have affected us. So please, Svein, go ahead, unmute and go.
Yes, Stoffe, I guess you can hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Okay, thank you, Stoffe, and thank you everyone for joining today. A lot of interesting webinar coming for the next 2 weeks, so I hope you also can find some time to join other webinars if you find something that is relevant for you. So for me today, I will give you a short update on Cegal, and then I will jump over to a little bit how COVID-19 has affected our Workday, and then in the end, well, will we ever be back to the normal? So that's basically what I'm taking you through here today. So let's see if I can move the slides here. Yes, I will start with this short update. Go to the first slide there, and I have to say that we had a fantastic end of last year. So one thing was that we actually signed quite a lot of new large contracts, and as Stoffe also mentioned in the start here, we got new owners. And in the lead of the new owners, you have a company like DWS, which is actually one of the largest investors in the world, owned by Deutsche Bank. And you have Argentum, which is by far the Nordic country's largest investor. They are handling a lot of the government money in Norway and also the oil fund. And then you also see we have quite some other investors, but that is the two largest ones. This is investor consortium is handled by Novestor, which also was handling that former investors of Cegal. And you can also see that Cegal employees are owning almost 30% of the company, which is very positive. I think it's almost 240 employees owning in Cegal. So in addition to that, you can see that we have put together a new, very interesting board. You have Lasse Andresen, which is, he is actually a Norwegian rock musician moving to Silicon Valley and took his company with him called Rock Forge. And he is representing tech, security, and internationalization. We also have Davor Petros Sutia, which is former coming from Cognite, and he also worked with Fast and Search. And he is specialist within sales, marketing, branding, and product. And Dagfinn Ringås, which is now the CEO of Cisco. He has a long background from Microsoft, representing, cloud journey and technology, and also the renewables side of it. So I think this is a very good situation. I'm so happy that we finalized this last year. And now we are in a very good position, handling also the situation with COVID and everything that happened after that. So that was my slide about Cegal. I will just go to today's main point. So 12th of March, a lot of things happening overnight for many. So basically what we decided was to move every employees home. And of course, we have never done that before. So a lot of uncertainty around that. And I guess you've been through that, a lot of you listening in there. And we closed all our businesses. So, or offices, sorry. So what happened with Cegal? First of all, we took a risk consideration, and for Cegal, this is not a high risk having healthy people working from home. The largest risk was getting a lot of sick people looking or losing workforce. And we know that we had a system built for and supporting this. It was more how to handle, you know, all the people going home. So and basically system, everything works fine. And as you can see, we had a very good speed into this time. We have been working very closely with our clients to understand how things are going within this. So we had an extensive customer survey. And all in all, we see that our cloud products has become even more relevant to the customers. We see that this is business critical for their operation, and it has been very busy. On the software, we see that the software is working well. You can use it from home, you can use it everywhere. And we see there is very high stickiness on the software that we are delivering. And also on the consulting part, which is quite big area of Cegal, we've seen that during this period, it has been very busy. So just to give you a couple of slides, what happened when we moved all people home, for example, with sick leaves. And you can see that we went down from week 8, 9, 10 this year, around 3% sick leave, to almost 0.2, 0.3% in week 15. We see that the last week is a little bit on the way up, but no, it's actually on the way down again in week 20. So I think it really shows the effort that the employees are putting into this extreme situation. So I will come a little bit back to that. If you see on the right slide, this is the human capital index of Cegal. We send out a survey to our employees every week, and you can see on average we are quite high all the time. Maximum is 6. We are from 4, 6, but you can see in April it has gone even higher up. I think we are around 4.8 of 6. So it also shows that things are working well. Employees at home are function and they have what they need, and they get the information they need. So all in all, this gives a very good picture of what happened when we moved all employees to the home office. The next slide, something about the operational. We are using a system in Cegal that we call ServiceNow, which is handling all operational tasks. And as you can see, number of cases exploded when people moved to home office, and we were really starting to struggle with the quality and to get all the tickets done. So what we actually did was to change temporary some personal tasks, getting help of this and control of this situation. And you can see we are over the top, and now we are really performing well. You can see that we are closing more cases and being more efficient when we are sitting from home. So that's quite an interesting observation for our business. And I also need to touch a little bit on this, because COVID-19 is affecting extremely many people all over the world, billions of people. And what we see is that large countries are locking down, people are staying at home, they are not driving to the office, they are not traveling to other companies. And we see that this is causing or lowering the consumption of oil and gas, and there is overproduction, and hence you get the low oil price. If you see on the left side, this is sort of Rystad Energy, trying to predict the future, and we see already now that large countries like China, they are opening and are starting to function more normal again, and the consumption are on its way up, and they predict that this will be a tough year, but within first half of next year, the consumption is almost back to the normal. But of course, this is very difficult to predict. Just showing the slide on the right, this is showing Cegal how we did the last downturn, oil price downturn, and you see that the Cegal business is very robust, and we expect this also, even that you see now that we are flattening out. That is some reason for that, because we are actually growing these days, and we expect that if Rystad is correct, things will go back to normal. Cegal will overcome this in a good manner. And we also think our value proposition is become even more relevant in the future. So that concludes COVID oil price and gives us this picture. The conclusion for Cegal is so far so good. Things are going pretty well. We are very busy working from home. So, and I will say there are many success factors, but basically I would say I will mention 3 today. Number 1, by far, when this happened, there was a lot of uncertainty, and I have to say that I am so proud of my colleagues, how they have handled this situation, showing a very high flexibility and a high moral working from home. We know that a lot of the employees in quite some long time had the kids back from school, needed to be a teacher, needed to do the job, and we see that we take some hours free, help the kids, and then we pick up again maybe later, and we are have a very high availability on email and chat and everything. So I would say that this would never work as well without employees that are really trying to do the best of this situation. So that is by far number 1. Number 2 success factor, that is secure access to critical data and application. And I think moving home overnight, this is sort of, this is something that just need to work. If you go home, that it could be frustrating by itself, but if you then don't get access to your data and you are not able to do your job, then you will be extremely frustrated. And looking at this picture, it seems like an easy thing to do. And yes, finance application, Teams, new application is built for this. But, this industry, E&P, has a very complex operation, within exploration, drilling, and production. We have extremely amount of data, and we have very demanding application using high processing power, 3D, 4D graphic, etc. This is not given that this should work well. So, and I think now after this, we see that a lot of things is working. I think our clients is very happy with GeoCloud, and this really fits the purpose. And we also see that this will actually come high on the agenda of the management in these companies to assure if this happens again, we need to access our productions application, exploration application. We need to access everything from remote location. So this is an important success factor. And then we have number 3 success factor, which is digital collaboration tools. I think luckily there has happened a lot the last 6 to 12 months. If you turn this situation maybe back 6 to 12 months, I don't think this will work as fine as it has done. And we all be struggling a lot. So we see that collaboration tools like Teams that I show here are working very efficient. And we see that even during the COVID-19, it has improved with a lot of functionality. If we go back, 6 to 12 years, we probably used Skype a lot. And I have to say that Teams is so much more than just video conference and the stuff that we are doing now. And I try to show that with a couple of examples here. If you see down to the left, the picture there, that is actually for business lines of Cegal that we call application management. And what you see there is a picture of Teams and everybody working with application management. They get a dashboard, and there you have everything you need to work with application management. You get access to all the operation processes. You get access to all the documentation. You get access to the service system, and you have everything through Teams. And if you see on the top, that is a large project going on and GeoCloud implementation. And if you can see in the task lines, you see a lot of things there. So it's not only chat and conferencing and video and stuff like that. It's project management, it's task list, it's meeting references, it's taking notes. It's a lot of things that can put into Teams. So feel free to ask us to get more details on all the functionality around this. So basically, I will say that this has been Cegal's main success factors. If those three elements hasn't been in place, I think we will experience a very different situation. So going on, so what now? Is it back to the normal or back to office? Cegal has opened up the office 50% in Norway at least. In the UK, there is still lockdown. In US and in Houston, we have opened the office. In Middle East and Asia, there is still lockdown at the offices. So quite different experience all over the world. I try to find some statistic on that. I think there will come much more in the future, but and you can see the link here where I found it, and this is sort of a survey in UK where they expect that the workforce will be working remotely. 50% of the workforce will be working remotely by 2020, and you can see there has been an extremely increase in people working from home and all around. 1.5 million people the last 10 years. 70% workers in the UK would prefer if they could work remotely. 82% say they will be more loyal to their employer if they have flexible working arrangement. They also measure the productivity and see that you are getting a higher productivity of people sitting at home having focus. And 56% of their employees say that the company should adapt their skills to manage a remote workforce. So I think this is very important to see, especially new employers coming from school, more used to having these tools available. They would like to have a flexibility. So to be competitive at some point, we probably need to think differently on this. And of course, we have these discussions in Cegal today. We have not concluded, so this is work in progress for us. So of course, there are some pro and there are some concerns around this. You have a sort of a list here. This is basically based on the experience that we have had for a couple of months sitting at home. And we see that one thing that is very efficient is time savings. One thing is, going to and from the office. But even when you sit working, you sit working, you have a meeting in 2 minutes. and then you just put on your iPods or speakers, and then you are into the meeting. And we even see that, normally people struggle to get the meeting. We were maybe waiting 5 minutes to start a meeting and stuff like that. No, like 10 seconds when the meeting started. Well, where is he? And 30 minutes after, then we started. So it's very efficient. So, and we also see the measure that we have done so far has increased the efficiency. You have the potential to reduce office costs. When that said, you still need office, you still need people to meet, but you need maybe more activity-based office. So you have a quiet zone, you could have a team zone, you could have a project zone, etc. We see that it's a higher threshold for sick leave. So I'm not feeling so good today. Maybe I should not go into the office and infect other people sitting there. Well, I'm sitting home today. It's say you are sick and you home do nothing. You're actually sitting in front of the DM working. I talked already about tech talents and employees. We have also the environmental benefits, not traveling so much, etc. And I have 3 kids myself, so balance between work and family lives. I have to be fair and say that I haven't seen my kids so much ever than I've done the last 2.5 months. And of course, you have the flexibility then that you could actually do something during the day, and you can sit home and when the kids are in bed and do the rest of the work then. There are of course also some concerns. Lack of workforce visibility. Are they really doing their job? How could I supervise them when they're sitting from home? I think one advice from me, at least, put on your video when you use Teams. For me, it was a little bit difficult. Now I do it all the time, and you get a completely different conversation. Risk of team theft, you have a lot of things that you want to do at home. Do you manage to balance that with your work? Of course, to reduce socialization, and here right back to this activity-based facilities. And I think at this point, it's very difficult because no things working, difficult integration of employees, no things working very well. Of course, who to call, the people working. So okay, I need help, I can call him. How do we manage that? And of course, cost and investment. I think, okay, you can save some money in the office facility, reduce some office costs, but you need to invest in technology. And we talked about collaboration tools, and we talked about different system, and there are a couple of systems as well. I think you invest in to have a long-term situation using more homes, and I'm actually coming to that on my final slide. So, and my first slide is that technology, key enabler, the new digital workday. We talked about video and conference tools. We've talked about project management tools and good workspaces for people to work in. Collaboration tools like chat, notes, shared files. And then you have a couple of new things. You have to have good visibility of your business. So corporate performance management system that is giving you online data on how the business's performance. And then you also need to have an employment performance management system. This is something that Cegal is not using today, but we are looking into it. And it's basically to make people visible. If a good employee is doing a good job, how can he document and how can this show that he is really putting an effort? So basically, that is what we are looking for in an employment performance management system. And then you have the sales. I think the whole sales and marketing system is in a change. So we're looking into inbound marketing tool and processes, doing webinars like this, getting interest from clients, use all the technology, all the social media to get interest. That will be a new world for the sales process. But in the end, I think also building relationship and have some meetings, that will be the future forever. So my ending word will be that without technology, I think this would not be possibility. So technology is the key enabler. So Stoffe, I think that was everything from me.
Thank you very much.
Not sure. Yes, thank you all for listening.
I think we can wrap up at the end here, thanking everyone for joining or participating in this webinar. As mentioned earlier, this will be available also as a video recording. You will receive an email on that later on. I leave you with the next set of webinars coming now moving forward. So feel free to sign up, and thank you very much for participating on this webinar this morning. Goodbye.